For those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and welcome to It's Quest Time. Now, before we get going, if I could direct your attention to the menu wheel in your lower left, you're going to notice that there's a microphone icon at the very top of that menu wheel. And when that microphone icon is clear, that means I can hear what's happening in your environment, right? We all can. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've turned that to red, and that basically means that you mute it. So if anyone comes into your space and says, hey, are you still on that thing? We're not going to hear any of that, so feel free to answer them. Or maybe you have a dog barking in the background. You won't face social ruin back at the campfire by becoming known as the avatar that suddenly started barking during its quest time, right? Now, let's see here. Now, Quest Time is an event for Oculus Quest users, but all are welcome. So if you're on another device, feel free to hang out because you may pick up, some information you're thinking about getting a Quest, or maybe it's just some, knowledge that you'll get that can help out the growing Quest community in Altspace, because there's a lot of Quest users coming in each and every day. While you still have those emoji panels open, well, actually, let's address that because I haven't gotten to that bit yet. But yeah, just because you're muted doesn't mean you can't express yourself. You're going to notice that there's a pink cheek smiley face in your menu wheel there, and this will give you a lot of options with which to express yourself. So if I say something really deep, right, powerful, meaningful, and I share it, and you touch it, and you're moved, and it starts to build up inside you, you can just let it out, just let it come up. Maybe I got some backup dancers backstage, right? Maybe they come out and we break into It's Quest Time, the musical, right? And they, and you're all impressed. You can throw up the applause that I live for. And I can take a moment to drink that all in because it feels good. All right, now, if I ask you guys a yes or no question, you could say yes like this. You could say no like this. Or, maybe I say something funny. You want to show me you're laughing. You can do the silly face emoji here. That's a good option for that. And then there's this. And this is not how you ask a question. We will be taking questions and comments at the end. This is how you get my attention in the event that there's something wrong. Like, for example, maybe, I'm waving my hands around. It looks like saying something here and you can't hear me. All right, that'd be a good reason to do that. Now, if I see just one of them go up, I'm probably going to keep on going. But if I see five, I know something serious is going on. Like, maybe the display behind me is caught in a fire, or maybe there's some bubbles coming up out of the rug. Sometimes we give our moderators Terraformer and they do like special effects and stuff, and that can happen. So yeah, and also if you press X, it'll close this emoji panel, but it's a good idea to keep it open during events like this because, one, it gives me feedback, lets me know how I'm doing, but more importantly, it lets the people around you know what you're experiencing. So if the person next to you starts going like this, that means they found something funny, and you may not agree. You might be like, that's not funny at all. I'm going to go stand over here, right? And you can totally do that because this is VR, right? All right. Now, before we get going, let me get an idea of how many of you are on a quest right now. Show me some like love or some hearts if you're on a quest. Let me see how many of you are on a quest right now. All right, that's a fair bit of you there. Okay, cool. Let me see. How many of you are new to Quest? Like you just started with your Quest? Fairly new. All right, see 1, 2, 3, a few of you. How many of you are new to Altspace? Any new Altspace users? All right, welcome to Altspace. That's cool. I like seeing that. That's great. How many of you are on an Oculus Go and you're thinking about upgrading to a Quest? Anybody? Okay. How many of you recently, came over from the Go to the Quest? Like you used to be on a Go, but now you're on a Quest. Anybody? All right, cool. All right, good to know. It gives me some idea how to proceed. All right, now when I was first expecting my Quest, right, I was very excited about it because I was at the time I was on an Oculus Go for many months. And I grew up in Brooklyn, right? So I'm used to expressing myself with my hands. I talk with my hands a lot. But in Altspace, anybody saw, because the Go has that one controller, all anybody saw was me talking with the one hand. And I didn't feel like I was expressing myself as fully as I could. So I was really looking forward to getting this second controller, but, because I want to be able to, move that hand, right? But it turns out that these are so much more than hands, right? These are also, your feet, how you move around, how you interact with the environment. And when your Quest first arrives, you take a look at the controllers and you know what? That's a lot of buttons, right? It is. It's a lot of buttons. And I like to go over some of the buttons and the movement controls. If you're here today, you already have some of the basics down, like, the left thumbstick moves you around like this. The right thumbstick's going to turn in these circles, right? And when you combine the two, you get these elaborate circles that make my presentation so much more dramatic. If you all start doing this, going to these large circles here, combine that movement like that, when I look out in the audience, it's going to look like you're ballroom dancing. Let me take a look at that, right? I don't know how you do it. I'm going to get on that. Come on and do that. All right. Now, when I look out on this and I see you guys doing that, I always say, I wish you guys could see what I see, right? And now you can. We have a YouTube channel, so if you want to check yourself out moving around like that, feel free if you want to. You can take a look up at Raven Eye floating right there. up there. And if you want to wave out to YouTube, you absolutely can do it. You know, hey YouTube, how's it going? We got who is this? We got NAW Jason. We've got I think it's Blurry. There's an X there. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Is it Blurry or Blurry or Blurry? Blurry. It's Blurry. All right, cool. Blurry. All right. We got Victor. We got Caden123. We got Hummingbird. One of our regulars. We got John. You know, we got Lauren helping us out today. You know, who else we got? We got Lucy-ish. So yeah, it's great in Altspace YouTube. Come on in. All right. So yeah, that's what we're doing now. So feel free to wave at that. Now. Just a quick thing, let's just go over some of this real quick. And if you are comfortable with the controls already, don't worry, we're gonna do some movement exercises and stuff so that while everybody skills up, you can still have some fun, right? On your right controller, you have this grip button, right? And on your left controller, you have this grip button, right? Now this is gonna allow you to interact with your environment. So like basketballs, fireworks, you'll be able to hold objects like this. And if you're in the world's beta program and you start building worlds, you'll be able to, I see you're pointing there, right? We're gonna be taking questions at the end, all right? This is not something important, we're gonna keep on going, you know, because maybe we'll get to it. All right, but you're going to be able to interact with world objects. Now, let's say you're in the world's beta building program, right? And you're building a world. It's going to change the behavior when you grab an object in the world editor. It's going to change the behavior of your right thumbstick. No longer will this turn you around. But if you are grabbing an object in the world editor, when you move the right thumbstick left or right, it's going to change the size or the scale of the object. If you move the thumbstick forward or backward, it's going to move the object away from you, or it's going to pull it closer to you. Okay. Now, also you have, now listen, while these are a lot of buttons, please keep in mind that a lot of these buttons do the same thing. On the right controller, you have this select button, you have this trigger button on here, and if you have your left pointer enabled, you have this select button on your left controller. All right, these all do the same thing. So if you hold down, like say your right trigger right now, and you move through the audience right now, you're gonna see everybody's name tag above their head, move above their head, right? So this is how I know everybody's name so quickly. That's how I know that's Blurry, that's how I know it's Victor, you know, that's why I see, you got Jason right there. You know, and we got Sam22. How's it going, Sam? All right, so let's see what else you have here. You have now also you have this left trigger button here, and what this is going to do is if you're walking along or if you're flying and you walk in there and you hold down that right trigger there, what's going to happen is you're going to speed up. You're going to go faster, right? And you can like kind of go in this big circle and start moving quick, right? Maybe we get a hurricane going, maybe we get a tornado happening in here. And if you get dizzy, don't do this. But you can be moving very quickly just by holding down that left trigger. Okay. All right. Now let's see. Now let's see what's going on here. All right. So let's see. Yeah. Also have you're gonna notice too that on the Oculus Quest you have to worry about your vertical height. Right. Like on the go, you don't really need to worry about this much. Like when I first came in on my Quest, I went into the campfire, and when I got to the campfire, like I noticed I was a little bit. I kind of felt a little bit above everybody, right? I felt like I was walking on air. And then when I looked down, I realized why. I was floating this high off the ground. And what's going to happen, the way when this happens, what you do is, so we got Victor here. Victor, press down on your left thumbstick and show everybody what happens. All right, just press down on that left thumbstick. There you go, boom, just like that. And he recenters. So if you find that your vertical height changes, like you feel like you're too tall, you feel like you're too short, just press down on that left thumbstick and it'll take care of that for you. All right, now, also you're going to have this, now it's important to remember, listen, if you're having a room scale experience, right? You've got your menus here and you're walking around. Sometimes you can walk out past them. If for some reason, whenever you do that, someone will say, hey, open your main menu, right? And you're going to be like, where is this thing? Where did it go? And you're going to be looking around for it, right? And it's like always behind you, right? So what you can do is please remember that your main menu is in your hands at all times on the Quest, all right? And the way you can access it without pressing that big blue button is pressing this flat button on your left controller on the bottom there. When you press it, your main menu opens up. So I haven't actually touched a blue and white triangle in months. All I do is I flick my hand out like that, right? You don't have to do it the way, it's just how I do it. I'm like, my menu's open, my menu's closed. It's a little stylish, right? You just flick it, right? Like do it like that. All right, now let's see, what else you have here is your teleport buttons. You have one on each controller, one there and one there. And if you join me up along this wall here, what you can do is if you press and hold down your right controller and aim at the floor, you're gonna see your teleport target on the floor, that circle there, right? And hopefully you're in a line dash teleport. It's a fun transition. What you can do is aim your teleporter across the room here toward that brick wall there. And as soon as you let go of the right controller, boom, you get flung right across the room just like that. Everybody kind of teleport over to me. Sure, give that a try. Right. Now also you have teleporter on your left controller. Right. So you hit that teleport button. You aim at the floor. You go down where you want to go there. Right. And you aim it across the room. And as soon as you let go, boom, you get flung right across the room. And another thing you can do that's fun is you can make an X with them. Right? Hold down both buttons at once, make the X, and as soon as you let go, if you let go at the same time, you get this zigzag motion like that, right? Also, what you can do is you can maybe if you're standing up at a stage like this and you start going backwards, maybe if you hold that on that accelerate button, you can do it fast, and you teleport at the floor, you can be doing like this Altspace moonwalk type move, right? Like that. You can also, right, I found this out like a couple of weeks ago, right? I was very excited about it. I was standing here and I was talking in the audience and how to get back up on stage, but everybody like, was around me, and I reached my hand over my shoulder like this and teleported backwards, right? So you can, combine that into different moves, right? That's pretty cool, right? Like that, Lauren, you like that? You gonna use that? And you're like, oh, I can teleport backwards, boom, like that. It's pretty fun. All right, so what else we have here? Let's see. So you also have the, when I was messing around with all this teleporting stuff, when I was first getting a handle on it, because it could take a couple of days to, to about a week or so to get used to the controls. So if you're just starting out, don't get discouraged. I was at the Universe, and back then they had a very large world. And at the end, I was out, I was exploring the world, and I walked over to the edge of the world, and I went a little bit too far, and I started to fall, right? And as I'm falling down, right before I could respawn, I look over, and I see there's a cliff there, right? And I reach out, and I aim my teleporter, and I let go, and I landed right on that cliff, because I shot right on over to it. And in that moment, I knew I was finally getting used to the controls. All right, you're always going to feel the plastic in your hands, but there's going to come a moment where these actually become your hands, right? You're not going to think about what buttons you're pushing. You're just going to be like, if I say, hey, everybody, look at that window out there. I'm not actually thinking about like how I'm pointing. I just do it, right? And it becomes a reflex. And the way you do this is like if you hold down your middle finger, right, you'll see that I'm pointing, right, on your grip button right there. And you can do it on your left controller too. Now I'm pointing with both hands, and I can go like this. Everybody can give me a Brooklyn hello. And that's how we do it, right? Go like, hey, how you doing? Just go like that, right? That's pretty cool, right? Now another thing you can do is you can hold them together like this, and you can put up the Altspace logo. Give me some Altspace love here, and hold up the logo like that. Or maybe you can twist them around like this, and you can make a picture, right? Squeeze the trigger button, click it, and be like, make this moment last forever. Wouldn't it be cool if you could take screenshots like this? And just be like, yeah, just like that. Oh, you're a great audience. Yeah, like just go like that. Now, if you squeeze the trigger buttons together like this, you can get 2 thumbs up, right? It's like, hey, you're doing a good job. Maybe I'm not. Maybe you go like that, right? Maybe you don't know yet. You can kind of go like that, right? Or I saw somebody going like this, all right? And then during the one of the first quest types, somebody came up to the stage and they were going like this. A few people were doing that. I thought that was pretty neat. And the thing to remember is if you see somebody doing a gesture like this that you like, right? The best way to pick it up is by mirroring them. So if you see somebody doing something cool that you like, just maybe ask them how they're doing it and then like copy it. And then try to do it yourself, and you end up with some because body language is a big deal in Altspace, and you end up, being able to express yourself more fully when you can do this stuff. All right, let's see what else we have here. All right, now there's another really important button to keep in mind here, and that is, and keep in mind, this is like, you got to think of this as like an eject button, so don't press that now, because if you disappear, I'm going to feel it, right? But that's this flat button on your right controller. This is the fastest way out of Altspace, right? So if you, if somebody comes into your space and says, hey, dinner's ready. You just press that button, and you'll see these 3 things appear to either resume, which will bring you back into Altspace. It's great if you press that on accident, because if you're at like the Universe and you're dancing around, right, and all of a sudden you press that button by accident, right, you're going to get taken out to that screen. In that case, you just press resume, and you'll be taken right back into Altspace, and it'll be like you were never gone. Nobody will even know you're left. You'll be looking around like, did anyone see that? All right, cool. All right, well, I'm going to keep on dancing. All right, so you can do it that way, but this is also really important in case, something's wrong, right? So like, let's say that, for example, you turn your head and the whole world moves with you. This can make you feel real sick in VR when that happens. So it pays to have a quick way out, right? Or maybe, you look, to the left and there's a black void and you're like, uh-oh, there's something seriously wrong. And then you look to the right, up, down, there's a black void all around the edges of the screen, and all of your friends are frozen on the screen like this, frozen. Something's up, right? You're gonna want to press that flat button on your right controller and press quick and then restart the app. And that's going to take care of most of the problems that you're going to have in Altspace. But now and then, something more serious might be going on. It's going to require you to restart the device. Now, when I was first starting out, I would restart my device while it was off my head, right? And if your device isn't in a charge cycle when it's plugged in, and the light's not coming on, you might think your device is broken. That happened to me. So I made it a habit, and I think it's best practice to restart the headset while it's still on your head. And the way you accomplish this is you take this, it could take a while for this, it takes about 20-something seconds for this to happen. What you do is you take your index finger and you swipe along the side of the headset until you feel that power button. It's like a bump, right? And as soon as you got it, you take your other index finger and you push it in against the other side and you squeeze your fingers together. Maybe you look down like you're concentrating in Altspace, right? And then after about 4 seconds, right, after 4 seconds go by, you're going to concentrate so hard that your avatar disappears and you get plunged into the darkness as your headset turns off, but you don't let go. Right? After about 10 seconds of this, you're going to think maybe that Michael Forrest was trying to pull my leg, right? Or maybe, maybe Oculus shouldn't make it take this long. After about 15 seconds, you're like, man, I haven't seen those people in years. Start thinking about old friends, how they're doing, And it goes, 20 seconds go by, you start thinking about life, start thinking about the big questions, right? And then after about 22 seconds, all of a sudden, you're going to see the Oculus logo emerge from the darkness. And when it starts to like pulse like that, right, what you're going to do is you're going to take your fingers away, just like that, right? And then, your device will restart normally, and you'll restart the app. And this is going to take care of most of the problems that you can have in Altspace and pretty much across the device and other apps as well. And, but occasionally, more drastic measures are going to be called for, right? But I want to, make you aware this is a serious option. Only use this in an emergency, right? And that's the factory reset. Like for example, I came out of Altspace once and I got a notice on my screen that said, Oculus Home is closing, and there was a blue button that said OK. It was the only choice they gave me, so I pressed OK. If you ever see this message, just restart your device because this is what happened. As soon as I said OK, the screen said loading, and then nothing happened. It just said loading for like 2 minutes. And so I restarted my device, like I just showed you, did the whole deep concentration pose thing. It restarted up, and it still just kept saying loading, so I knew something was seriously wrong. So I asked my good friend Google about it, and Google was like, a lot of people are having this problem, and the only thing you can do is a factory reset. But if you perform a factory reset, keep in mind that if you have pictures on your device, you're going to lose them. Any settings or apps that you have on your device, you're going to have to like re-download the apps. You're going to have to redo your settings. You might even lose your Beat Saber score. So this is very serious, okay? Very serious. You don't want to lose those Beat Saber scores. All right, so only use this in emergency, but it's important that you know it's there. All right, now, if you're using your Quest, you're already familiar with the Guardian system because you did the tour, you danced with the robot, you played with the blimp, you did all that fun stuff, right? But you got to keep in mind that you can use your Guardian to your advantage in Altspace. But before I tell you how to do this, bear in mind, when you mess with your Guardian, please be careful because a lot of times in Altspace, you'll see somebody walking along like this, and all of a sudden you say, boom, like that, they hit a wall in the real world. You don't want to do that. You don't want to injure yourself. You don't want to damage your device, right? Now, what you can do, though, is like, let's say you're getting dizzy in VR, right? One thing you can do even without using a Guardian, it's a good tip, even if you're on another device. If you feel dizzy in VR, one thing that really helps with that is if you look at your hand like this, just hold your hand up to your face like that and focus on your hand until the dizziness passes. And when it does, slowly take the hand down away and take in the world around you. But you can use your Guardian system to do this too, right? And what you do is like, when you move around inside your Guardian, it's always a good idea to lead with your hands, right? This way you don't, injure yourself, right? So you move up, to the edge of your Guardian, and all of a sudden, you'll see that, white grid appear in the air, right? And as soon as you have that grid in the air, you can hold it in place with your hands, but you can still touch your thumbsticks. So I could still be holding that grid and still move my avatar around in VR. So now I can move my avatar up over to this screen, and I can line the screen up, this display, with my real world wall. And when I do this, right, now I'm like an anchor to the real world. I've got like a frame of reference. So if I'm moving around on a stage and the worst should happen, like, oh no, I've fallen off the stage. And now the audience, if you come over here and you start messing with me, try to make me dizzy. Give me your best shot, right? Try not to stick your hand in my face. Just mess with me, all right? Let's see what you got here. Okay. Wow. All right, this is really all you have? Okay, well, honestly, I'll be honest with you. As long as I can see that display, and it's huge. I mean, there's no way you can really block my vision totally. I mean, I can still see it. It's right there. You guys aren't that tall, really. Come on, are you guys even trying? Really? This is the best you have. This is, all right, okay. All right, well, as you can tell, right, I didn't like break my sentences or anything like that. I didn't have any, the stage is laughing. Stage, you thought that was funny? Okay. Everybody see the stage laughing? The stage is laughing. Wow, okay. That's interesting. Oh, well, now it's happening over here. Man, they're going to seal up these cracks. All these emojis getting through. This is terrible. All right, but what can happen there is like, all right, so what you just saw, right, was as long as I have a frame of reference to the real world, like I'm anchored to the real world, it's going to help with the dizziness. You don't got to use something big like this, like that. Let's say you have a desk or a table in your space, like you can just line it up with the edge of the stage here, right? And this is going to help you, prevent you from getting dizzy, overly much in VR. So that's a good thing to know. Another thing to know is that you can change from a room scale to a stationary experience without actually ever leaving Altspace. Like, let's say I'm up here and I'm like, I got 2 events today and I'm already tired. I don't know how I'm going to go on. I don't know how I'm going to make it. I need to sit down. So what I can do is I can hit my headset. Everybody hear that? Wow. Okay. I'm going to work on that bit. But what you can do is you go up to the edge of your Guardian, right? And when you got enough room, you stick your hands through, make sure you got enough room for your head. And as soon as you move your head through, you'll be able to see, right, into the real world. I can see I got my coffee right here, so I can, go ahead and grab that. I see I got my chair over there, right? And I can go sit down if I want. So I'm going to walk on over, and I can see the real world right now. And I sit down, and I got that circle around my, the base of me, and it's asking me if I want to switch to a stationary experience. So I press on the, blue button saying, I do want to do that, right? And all of a sudden the grid pops up, and I'm gonna find not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never actually left. The only difference is my avatar is going to be like down here now. I press down on that left thumbstick, I'll pop right back up, and I can keep going now in a seated position. This works in the other direction too. Like let's say, one time I was moderating an event, right? And I felt like getting up and walking around. It was a big deal for me. So I figured I was just going to get up and walk into my, play space there. And you can do that. But occasionally the Quest is going to lose your play space and ask you to redraw it, which is normally not a big deal, but it is a pretty big deal when there's like 2 minutes left in the event and you don't think you're going to be able to get back in. So I'm over there and I'm drawing my boundary out and I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? I don't know. I'm running late. Of all the times to moderate for an admin, Lord, why did it have to be today? Right? And I'm going there and I'm retrying this thing, right? And then why is my play space so big? And then all of a sudden I close the loop and the grid comes right back up out of the ground. And you know what I find? Not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never actually left. All anybody sees is my avatar's frozen like this. I always pause there for effect, right? And there was this one time I actually lost my connection. I disappeared off the stage, and people were in the audience looking up, going, because my avatar's like still all the frozen, and they're like, oh, he's really his paws out, isn't he? All right? I don't know. So yeah, you can do that. But the thing is that this works in both directions, and you never actually leave Altspace. So feel free. You can make it comfortable. Don't feel like you're trapped either sitting or standing. You don't have to actually log out to change those positions. But just exercise caution whenever messing with that. One cool thing you can do with the Guardian is that you can actually, and this isn't very useful, this is just fun to do. If you move your head out past through the barrier, and the camera goes off and you can see the real world, right? And then you move it back and you can see VR. There's a sweet spot where you can see both realities at once. And it's really cool actually because you get a sense for how tall Altspace avatars are, right? I never realized this, and you'll notice this when you see them in a familiar environment. You just have to go like right in between the spaces there, just at the right speed, really slow, and you'll see your avatar standing in your living room, and you'll find that they're about 6 feet tall, right? And they're actually wider than you would think too. They're like, look like, I don't know. It's all that coming at me in the real world. I don't know what I would do with that. All right, so let's see. The great thing about the Quest is it just works, right? Now, there are some accessories that can make it work better. Like, for example, the sound on the Quest is amazing. There's no feedback. It's really good. But they have these earbuds that kind of dangle down from the side, and I don't know what I look like when I'm in VR, but I like to think when I'm wearing these, I look fancy, right? And when mine arrived, I figured I'd try them, so I went to the campfire to test them out. And you guys know there's a breeze in the campfire? Nobody told me this. I went over to that fence rail there, and there's water rushing by, and I heard that too. It turns out there's a lot of ambient sound in Altspace that can make the experience a lot more immersive, and to make you, more fully present, make it feel like you're really here, which is great. You also have these inserts. If you find that, listen, a lot of people think that the Quest is uncomfortable. I know people that have returned it for this, right? And you got to keep in mind something, because Oculus doesn't advertise this enough. When you first get your Quest, right, there's a breaking in period. And a lot of times people will try to modify it by putting on a counterweight or external battery pack, something that, to shift the weight on it. And what'll happen is as soon as that breaking in period is up, the balance will change again, and they'll be convinced that the Quest is uncomfortable, right? It's just a breaking in period where you got to give yourself time for you to get to know your Quest and for your Quest to get to know you. The oils in your face will actually, affect the insert, and it'll change the tensions on the springs. You just got to give it a little time to break in, right? But if you find after a couple of weeks that it's not comfortable and you do want to modify it, there's this company called VR Cover, and they make these face inserts, right? And they can, really change it for you. They also have these prescription lenses that'll protect your glasses if you wear them, and also protect the lenses on your headset. Both that can be a pretty expensive problem if you don't, take precautions to deal with it. And protecting your headset is a good idea, which is why you also have this travel case down here. The box that the Quest comes in is great, but if you're going to be moving it around, the travel case, you can't go wrong with that, because you want to protect your device. If you leave it on a counter or a table, and sunlight gets on it, that can damage the lenses. And if something happens to your headset like that, it's not going to be like losing your toaster. I've seen it happen, and if you are spending a lot of time in VR and you've made some friends in Altspace, and all of a sudden something happens to your device, you're going to experience it as an actual loss. All right, so take good care of your equipment. If you want to try any of this stuff out, you can find it easily by going to altvr.com. Up in the upper left, you're going to see where it says channels, and there you're going to see, if you press on that, all the Altspace event channels, right? And one of them is going to say Ravenhall Events down toward the bottom there. And when you press on that, you're going to be taken to our event channel. And there on the left side, you'll see all these products if you want to try any of them out. You also see a join Discord button if you want to help us put on events like this. And you'll also see the most important button on the internet, the subscribe button. All right. Now, we don't get paid to do this, so every time we see that number go up, it makes us feel good. So if you press subscribe, it also lets Altspace know that you enjoy our content. All right. Let's see. Now, we are going to be taking your questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the raise hand button appear as if by magic on your lower right. It should be coming in right now. And if you have a question, just press that raise hand button, or maybe you have a comment. Maybe you tried an accessory I didn't mention. You'd like, mention it. Just press that raise hand button. You'll get my list. While we're waiting for it to fill up, if you guys want to follow us on Twitter, you can find us at __Uncanny Valley. I know it looks like one underscore, but it's actually two. All right, we have Epony Mouse. What's going on? You're on the air. Hope I said it right.
Oh, hey, and I'm just curious if you've heard anything about the hand movement in the finger tracking, and if that's going to be brought into Altspace at
You know
any
what's
point.
funny is they actually had hand tracking in Altspace, but when the Quest arrived, they had to make a lot of changes to make it more performant. And one of them was they took away the hand tracking, which it's kind of funny because then all of a sudden the hand tracking came to the Quest, and it seemed like it would have been a natural thing. I heard an admin, one of the admins, Steven, he said that that's the way the market and the industry is going. So they may bring it back. I can't say absolutely. I don't know for sure. I don't actually work for Altspace, but it's so I'm hoping it would be really cool. I tried the hand tracking on the Quest, and I think it must take some getting used to, or it's still like early days because it seemed like it was kind of flickery and a little bit difficult. I think it's the kind of thing where you have to adjust to it, and more apps are going to start using it, I'm sure. It'd be nice just to have the option to go back and forth. Like I put my controllers down, and when I do, I can still, it'll automatically switch to hand tracking. That would be pretty cool. And I actually have seen it in Altspace where people have used the hand tracking before they took it out, and what you can do with the body language with it is amazing, right? Like, some people that were like moderating events that I was starting at, and they'd go up to somebody and they kind of make that gesture to be quiet, right? And like they never said a word, and it was just amazing to see. So I really hope they bring it back. All right, let's see who else do we have here. We have Jody. Jody, let's see here. You're on the air. I feel like a radio host when I do that. Where are you, Jody? Let's see you.
Yeah.
Hey, Jody. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Hey. The hand tracking thing, they've got it now where not in Altspace, but in normal Oculus homepage, if you put your controllers down, the hand tracking kicks in automatically if you've turned it on. So
Really?
Yeah, they've turned it on as long as you've got the beta hand tracking turned on.
Ravenhall Talon aircraft en route to your position.
All right, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. You'll see a ship going down the street right now. This is the transition to how we get to our next event. Apparently it was pressed by accident. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Jody, but there's we've been taking questions. Wait, what was that, Jody? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the other thing, I got a delivery this weekend of a new faceplate and headphones, which were by Kiwi, which were on. I got it off Amazon.co.uk, and that's made faceplate. It's like
Talon aircraft is now boarding outside for transport to the Ravenhall Flight Academy.
Than the phone one, and it's
Please exit the building and step into the blue light. Thank you.
So they're worth looking at. Company called Kiwi.
Yeah, the Kiwi, nice. I know a VR cover. I haven't heard about that one yet. I'd like to look at it and see what they have available. Now, normally when our events are over, we take everybody flying at the Ravenhall Flight Academy. You may have noticed this hovercraft that flew by the window just now, right? You can actually fly these at the Ravenhall Flight Academy. And if you have any questions, or if I can call on you, we'll also be taking questions there. If we go outside in the backyard area, you'll find that it had landed and deployed a portal, but one of our moderators must have pressed it early. And so yeah, we'll go check that out now. So come on and join me at the Flight Academy, and we'll head on out. All right. And again, if you've learned anything here today, please share it with people you come in contact with. That's how we keep this thing going. And thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Here we go. You'll see the blue lights here. Hop on in. And thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time.